Kathryn. I am a writer at New Mercies for Moms, and I'm here with your midweek pep talk. So this week we have talked about the verse from Lamentations 2:19a that says, "Rise during the night and cry out, pour out your hearts like water to the Lord." And I chose this verse purposefully focusing on the first half of it because I loved this idea of pouring our hearts out before the presence of the Lord. I did not really focus on the second half of the verse, which to be honest is a little dark. I'll go ahead and read it for you. It says, "Lift up your hands to him in prayer, pleading for your children, for in every street they faint with hunger." Definitely not something as a mom I like to think about, my children fainting in the street from hunger. But this book was written after Judah and Israel had suffered the righteous wrath of the Lord, who was punishing them for abandoning him and choosing to worship idols for centuries. And so the writer of this was lamenting what had happened and that affected their children. Their sin had affected their children. And so in today's pep talk, I just wanted to talk about this idea of pouring out our hearts before the Lord on behalf of our children. As moms, this might be something that you naturally do. I'll admit it's something that I am having to cultivate and learn to do within myself. Not that I don't naturally pray for their health and for their well-being and for their growth and for them to know God and for their spouses, but I find that I don't really pray for them as fellow Christians. And as a mom, we have this unique privilege and responsibility to pray for our children in their faith. So I know that with young kids, my prayer for them has been just to know the Lord, just to come to know him. And as my daughter has prayed to accept Christ, which was just incredible, she's now 6, my prayer for her has been that she would grow in her faith and really be able to stand strong in this world that is becoming increasingly more hostile towards Christians. Of course, as American Christians, we don't face the kind of persecution that many of our brothers and sisters around the world face, and who are facing death because of their faith. We're not there yet, but the Bible teaches us that in the end days, that is going to be the case, that many Christians will die for their faith. And while I'm not saying that we are in those days, I do believe that we're seeing a turn in our nation where things are going to be more hostile, certainly for our children, I think. And it's our responsibility to pour our hearts out on behalf of them and their faith, that they would stand strong in their faith for Christ, even if faced with persecution, whether that is just ridicule for choosing to be different and not making the same choices that other kids are making in the world, or if that is losing a job because they take a stand against the poor practices that company has. Whatever the form of it takes, we have the ability right now to pour our hearts out to God on their behalf and pray for the Lord to strengthen them, to give them strong legs of faith is what I'm thinking, like, so that they don't crumble when the heat turns on, and it will. And so I think a lot of times as moms, we think our goal is to get them over the finish line of salvation, and really that's where it all begins. It is not just, our goal should not be just that they pray to accept Christ, but that they are then strengthened to be warriors for his good and continue to share their faith with boldness and see others come to know Christ because of their willingness to step out and say the truth in love. So I hope that this encourages you the way it has me this week. I admit God has really challenged me in the writing of this content for the week because, like I said, it's not something that comes naturally to me, and the idea of my children being persecuted isn't exactly something that I like to dwell on, but he's showing me that he loves them and he cares for them, and he's going to use me and my prayers as a way to encourage, embolden, and protect them. So I hope that encourages you this week and gives you a little pep in your step. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week and a wonderful weekend. Press on, Mama.